Hi and welcome to another episode of Tool Talk. I'm Mark the Window Cleaner, the show brought to you by windowcleaningresource.com. Well, today I want to talk to you about the Optiloc extension pole from Unger. But quickly, before I do that, I have to do a little refresher. Back in episode 18 of Tool Talk, I talked about the Unitech pole, also from Unger. This pole, just a quick refresher, has a little special locking mechanism for locking it into your whatever height you want, and that you can just turn the pole in a half direction in either direction. Saves you a few seconds compared to using locking collars, which you'll find on most other type of extension poles. And in that episode of 18 of Tool Talk, I talked about a couple of issues I had with this pole, being that it was really, in my opinion, an entry-level pole. It was kind of flimsy. This one was a 6.5-foot pole. If I ever pulled it out to that height, you get this good wobbling in the middle. So there was an issue there. But I've also had other issues with this pole, mainly being that the locking mechanism not working at all. First, I noticed in the winter time, whenever I had water that was pretty close to being icy running down the pole and into the mechanism, it would stop the locking mechanism from working. But also in the springtime, nice milder weather, I noticed the locking mechanism would work sometimes and not work at all the other times. It became quite frustrating. In fact, I'm just going to show you here now. I'm turning this in several directions. Now I go back. Same thing. It doesn't want to lock. So when you're out there on the job, you can't have a pole that's going to work whenever it wants to. I've taken this apart several times. I've cleaned it. Sometimes it's fixed the problems. But I'm at the point now where it's failing most of the time. So more than likely, I'm just going to extend it into a position that I think I might use it most often, and just stick a couple screws in there to keep it locked in that particular height. Anyway, on to the Optiloc pole. Now, the Optiloc pole was my replacement for this. That was a 6.5-foot. I decided, well, why not just go up to 8-foot pole? And the Optiloc 2-section 8-foot pole I found has worked out great for me, for storefronts as well as doing some residential bungalows. Saved me a little bit of ladder work, and I haven't had any issues with it. It's important to note that any time you're dealing with a pole that uses locking collars such as this, that every 2 or 3 days it's probably a good idea to fully open up that locking collar. You can dip it into the pole part into your window cleaning bucket there, and then use a little bit of a scrubber brush to scrub the threads, get it all nice and cleaned up so that it's functioning properly for you at all times. Now, the Optiloc comes in comes from a 4-foot minimum pole to a 30-foot pole. But do keep in mind that some of the higher poles, I think the 30-foot only uses 3 sections. And okay, so you say 30 feet, that's 3 10-foot sections. You can probably imagine that that pole's kind of not as strong as you need it to be, especially if you're trying to doing precision work up high. In my opinion, if you're actually going to use poles that high, you'd probably be better off with the Tele Plus pole, or the 30-foot pole from Ederay, which is a much stronger pole. But as far as your storefront or even second-story windows, I think the Optiloc is a great, affordable way to go. Whether you go 2 sections or 3 sections, that's totally up to you. Just tell you that a 3-section pole will be stronger because there's more of that overlapping to give it stability. I think maybe 10 feet is the highest I would go with a 2-section. Anything higher than that, like I said, either you get a 3-section Optiloc or go for a 5-section Tele Plus pole. Anyway, you have my review on this Optiloc poles up at windowcleaningresource.com. Also, Ederay poles, Mr. Long Arms. Have I forgotten anybody? Probably. But anyway, go check them out at the store at windowcleaningresource.com. Bye for now.